How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at Scrub Games, and today we have another Top Cup breakdown, including lists for the Zenkai event that happened this weekend for February in the EU, held by Raid'n'Trade. So this was a Webcam Zenkai Cup event, which was best of one pre-sided, and was 6 rounds with, I think it was 66 people in total, finally entered the event after round 1. And we had 6 lovely rounds through it, and we had a top 16 with a very diverse top cut. And it's not as diverse as the last one, the one we had in January a few weeks ago, but it's still very diverse. Like, if you remember, the last one had 14 different leaders and only 2 really occurring, and it just shows that the format has become a lot more interesting and a lot more things open that could do well. And even though it's early days in the format, and it's early days for this year and this season of play. But this one it was a little bit different. Like, a few decks popped back up, because I know last one we had some decks that people thought were going to be there but never showed up and things like that, and then showed up here. So what we're going to do is going to have a breakdown, look at the top 16, what the decks, leaders and stuff came into the top 16, and then we're going to go on to the list and have a look through. I'm not going to give a really in-depth rundown of each list. I'm just going to do a basic look at the list, go through it, because what I'm going to do is, like the last one, the players that enter the event, they might be covered on their own channels or on different channels, or might be doing profiles with other YouTubers. And if they do, I'll be linking them in the description below. So in the description, there's going to be the links to the video, to the lists on Untap. Not Untap, sorry, Deck Planet, the only deck builder in the game for Dragon Ball Super. And you can go check out the list if you just want to look at the list and then ignore anything. And if you just want to test them, you can put them on Untap. And if you want to look at some of the, like, I get a bit more information about the list, about why they run certain tech choices, or how the event was for them, like the rounds and stuff like that, then feel free to check out the description to see if there's any, because as soon as any pop up in online, I'll be adding to this video so you can get a more in-depth profile from the actual player. So without further ado, before we get into the video, do feel free to like this video, like these kind of videos. Well, like this video if you do enjoy my content. Comment down below if there's any questions, or if you want me to try and get a interview with any of them. I tried with some last time, but they were covered by other YouTubers before I got to them. So there's no point putting out the same content over different channels. There's no point in that. But I'll try and do my best again to get some deck profiles done if you need be. And also don't forget to subscribe as well, it keeps you updated with my videos as and when they drop, and helps me get to my goal of 1,000 subs, which I'm hoping to get there by at least the end of the year. We're still going strong, we're over halfway there now, and it'd be nice to get there by the end. So without further ado, let's go into the Top Cut breakdown and have a look to see what topped. So, for the list, we got 9 different leaders that topped, a little bit different, a little bit less than the 14 we had last time, and we got 4 occurring rather than there's 2 occurring in the last one. So for this one, we had 4 SS4 Gogeta, so that's the most represented, and overall the highest representative in this, color-wise, in this one was red. So looking a bit like how we had at the beginning of the Zenkai series in set 18, we have the majority of the top cut decks being red, with 4 SS4 Gogeta. Still strong contender, lost a bit of defense, but still very strong deck with a very, very powerful play. And then we've got 3 Shenron, so this is a deck that we never saw top in the last January one, but it's top this time in the second highest represented deck in this Top Cup with 3 of them, and one of them by the resident UK sim player as well, so C from Giovanni in a sec. So 7 decks for red, and then we go on to the next most represented one, or the next 2 most represented one, being 2 Supreme Kai at a time, piloted by by the 2 members of our team -2 team. In the Top Cut, they both went in with Supreme Kai, both enjoying it, and at least with Michael, he's like a black player in general, he just loves black decks, so he went with Supreme Kai time, same with Ollie as well. So the 2 members of the team went in there, same deck, almost same list we'll see in a bit, and then, yeah, both made top 16, doing the same thing they did last week as well. Then we've also got 2 Crimson, expected to be Crimson, the strongest blue deck at the moment, and just one of the strongest decks at the moment, coming in as topping. People would expect this. Then onto the one-offs, we got Yellow Trunks coming in as well, one of the best yellow decks, probably the best yellow deck at the moment, and coming in as a good way to like combat to the meta, especially getting some more support in the dashback, same with Supreme Card time. And then we have 1 copy of Freehand. This is interesting. This, if you do want to check it out, and it is an odd one. I want to see that, but yeah, Freehand. If you don't know what this is, it's the blue gold from set 19, nicknamed Freehand because it can only charge up to 3 energy. Hence the name Freehand, just like we got some weird names with the Kiku ones. People just trying to put like really bad nicknames for decks, but yeah, freehand makes sense. Kind of like does its job of separating this Gohan from the other Gohans, so it makes sense. Then we got one copy of SS4 Goku Zeno, so that's the Evercaster Man brother coming in as well, topping as well, because this deck did top in the last Worlds War, but that was piloted by Michael from D-2, and this one's piloted by Francisco, Francisco Casterman, who, like, I think he did take some, I don't think he did see the one that Michael topped with on the before and got some inspiration from that, and did well get top 16. Congrats, Francisco. And then we've got the other two being one Barlock's Crew, Barlock being the joke of Bandai, especially in the card game, and that managed to top here, like a yellow deck that people have been a fan of, and managed to show some results down today. And then Green Majin Buu back again, top last time. I don't know if I can't remember if the same person that topped last time with it this time, but Green Majin Buu topping again, and showing that it's still a very good green deck. So all the colours represented, even though like only one green and at least the three of the other colours, but still every deck topping, showing that you can play almost anything and do well in this. So that's the breakdown done. Let's have a look at the videos of the list and see what the list looked like, because I imagine that's what everybody's been waiting for. It's what everybody ever waits for. Queue down in the comments if you can put videos about the list meme. So let's look at first place. We go first to 19th. So 16th, sorry, that's it. And starting off with first place being David Perez with SS4 Gogeta. Quite a lot of basic stuff in there, a few tech choices as you see, quite interesting ones as well. One thing I do like is the King Piccolo tech choice. Well, that was a pretty interesting one. And a lot of them putting Unending Awakening in as a way to mitigate the loss of Digging Deep. So that is the main deck. Then on to the side and Z deck. Z deck being standard, what most red decks can have, because very strong ones, and some interesting tech choices as well. If you do get a deck profile, if a deck profile comes up with David's first place list, we'll link that in the description below. But that was first place. Now let's have a look at second. And second is Josh McMoran's second place Trunks list, so the yellow Trunks list coming in second, piloted by one of the members of Team Deck Planet. Yes, right, Team Deck Planet do have a team. Remember to check out their YouTube and make use of them as the best and only deck builder in the game. And look at this list is really built to be defend, built to hold out, and just basically win through attrition. And I think I remember someone saying about this list looked like it was meant to combat black aggro, because black's come back in the format. It's a colour that got a bigger boost from the ban of God Sealing, and it's built to do stuff like generic stuff, dashback support, very good. And then we'll have a look at the side deck and Z deck. So Z deck quite spread out, quite optimized. The interesting choices like this Come What May SS2 or SS Gohan as an interesting choice, and the side deck mostly standard for a lot of yellow things to cover the situations. So that's second. Let's have a look at third. And for third, we've got one of the first of the two Supreme Kai time decks. So these lists are going to be similar for Supreme Kai, because once again, Ollie and Mike are on the same team, T-2, best team in Europe, and as well as that, they both got together discussing the list, making them, fine-tuning them. This is the list they came up with. So quite a strong list. Support from the dashback made it even stronger, and also just the ban of God Sealing making it so this deck doesn't get stopped on the first attempt to do anything. So this is the list, and then we get down to Z list. I think the only difference with the Z list is Ollie did not have two Tenacious, so he had the Predator People in the side, a cover for the second Tenacious, and also he wasn't able to get hold of a second Pan, so had the incorporation of Full Emission instead. But that is the list. I imagine Ollie will do a cover of the deck list on his own channel, so that link will be down there so you can check out his video when he does that. So that is third place. Let's go on fourth. So fourth place, we've got the first of the Casterman brothers, lovely guys and great players. This was Giovanni, our resident Sin player in the UK, always playing Sin. Was doing really well with the yellow Sin when he used to play it, and then Red Sin came out and he's had to go with Red Sin, and always like a very strong player, always putting in results, and also as well doing well with his favorite character, his favorite March type. And here we can see that he's got a few interesting choices with the Mai Trusted Lackey is a replacement for Haze to keep with the Finding the Dragon Balls there for that consistency, pretty nice. And also the Z deck as well, he's been putting in the Fidel, because since you got Kai, if you combo that, I say Earthling in there, ready to use Mai for something interesting. And then the tech choices in the side deck helped comment the meta, and he went with a 5-1 record. So first place was 6-0, and then from second to 8th were the ones that went 5 wins, 1 loss, and then the rest of the top 16 from 9th to 16th went to 4 wins, 2 losses. So that is 4th place. Let's have a look at 5th place. Here we have David Martin with his Sin deck, a lot different than Giovanni, as you can see, with the tech choice and stuff. Also different kind of super combos, which I find quite interesting, using the Android 20 Inherited Evil. That's quite an interesting one because it can be used very easy from the get-go, just like the reason for Beerus is so it's live as early as possible without needing to worry about life. Same thing with 20, under 20, you just need 2 cards, red cards in your Z energy, and then you can have it live, which is what it's basically there for. Dragon Thunder in the main as well, similar to some decks used to have. And then going on to the side, no different, basically generic red side Z deck, and the side deck quite teched out and quite interesting. Like I do like the Galactic Explorers in the side as well, and Golemite is something we used to see that we don't see that often, but still good choice. And then at 5th place, let's have a look at 6th. And 6th place was David Vargas. So like you'll see some of these names pop up again and again. They're like David is one of these people that in the EU that is quite a good player and has topped quite a few times. I think he topped at London. I think he topped at London and topped at finals, and then topped these last 2 events. I think the last few events he was playing mainly red. I think it was mainly red Sin he was playing. Now he switched over a bit to Crimson, just still topping and with different decks, showing that he is a fantastic player for the EU. And it's the Crimson list, quite teched out, quite interesting. Some of the generic stuff, but also a fair few techs as well, and interesting numbers on the extra cards. Now if we go to his Z deck and side deck, Z deck teched out. Only card that has a recurrence is Beerus with 2 copies, and also like some decks have with the Goku Z lead if it goes to later turns, like if it goes on in like a blue mirror, you can go ahead and drop this on it as well on your lead. And then we've got for the side deck quite similar things that we normally get, but interesting with the Hirudegarn for that bit of ramp, like we saw Deval do, and the in the US finals, and absolute confidence imagine to deal with unisons. So that is 6th place. So we go on 7th, and we have another of the SS4 Goku's deck. So this one's a bit more streamlined, less like not so teched out as we see in some of the other decks, like some of the other decks, especially first place one, and this is by Pablo. I think he's topped as well before. So yeah, as I said, a few names you'll see are ones that like top consistently, and interesting to see that we got once again Unknown Awakening, and the interesting to see Omen Awakening in the main as well as a Floodgate Killer. And then we go on to the side. Oh yeah, the notice as well. No, yeah, there's 4 copies of the Gogeta. And we got side deck, same side deck as most of them, and then red one. Interesting tech, I really like SS3 Nappa, say Might in there, so you can get your opponent to 1 and just burn them to finish without needing to interact. That's quite nice. That's quite an interesting tech. So that is 7th place. Let's have a look at 8th. And for this one, we've got Javier Perez. I don't know if he's relating to the other Perez brothers, but yeah, coming in with the 2nd Crimson deck, and a little less teched out than that. Well, almost a little less teched out than David's, but also different choices as well. Like we see there's 2 Gammas and 217, and a mirror as the overall choice, and no Bean as well, but some Weesis Coercion as well. This is quite interesting. I remember this was best of 1 pre-side as well, so it didn't matter if your main wasn't good enough for the matchup or well teched out for the matchup. You had a side deck as well. So good job with Javier with the blue crimson, and into the side. Not much difference to everyone. Just instead of the Z lead instead of the Goku Z lead, it's got a 2nd copy of Cell, and the side deck teched out. There's the burst that you normally see every blue deck having, all teched out for certain matchups. So congrats to Javier. So congrats to the top 8 for doing well. Now we're going to 9th place. Remember, these are the people that went 4 wins, 2 losses. So we'll start off with 9th place. And that brings us to our Gohan player. So Noah is being the Gohan player. One thing you'll probably notice of this, probably straight away if you were paying attention, is the main deck only contains 49 cards. From the list I got from Raid'n'Trade, thanks very much. They only had 49 cards in it because he didn't have a link or anything, just a picture. And from the counting, I even had someone else come in and count the cards to make sure I was not seeing things. And he only had 49 cards in the deck. So Noah, if you are watching, please let us know what the 50th card was supposed to be, because you should have at least 50, but the picture was only showing 49, so I'm not sure if what was going on with that, but yeah. And also we got also another thing with this is interesting text like this Awakened Bardock and this Android 18 Perfection's Prey as choices in the deck, which were quite interesting. And the Z deck only had 6 cards. I don't know if he didn't have a 7th Z card, but he only had one of the Goku, Beerus, Cell, and Vegeta, and then 2 copies of the Blue Vegeta Forest. Might not have had a second Z card, or might not have wanted to bother looking for one. I'm not sure. And his side deck only contained 4 cards, being 2 Quartzikai and 1 each of these counterplays for Floodgates. But then again, still made 9th, went forward 2 with this list, so congrats to him. And so that is 9th. So let's have a look at our 10th place player. And that is Michael. So Michael coming in 10th place. The other member Team -2, but then the second Springkai time player. As I said, they had similar lists. He has similar list to Ollie because they worked together to kind of fine tune the list and go with what they felt was strong. And of course, it was strong because it got them both in the top cut. I think they even played each other in round 4 as well for the Supreme Kai Mirror match, which must have been fun. I think they did the same as well in the Zenkai Cup for January. They both played each other, which seems to be a thing now for big events so far going forward. So same main deck as well, and with the Z deck, the only difference is Ollie didn't have a third Pan, Michael did, so he went with 3-3-1 on the Pan, Boo, and Vegeta. And in the same side deck, same thing, just, yeah, Ollie didn't have the second Tenacious, so had a different card to replace it, whereas Michael had both the Tenacious. Still, both made top 10, so congratulations to our teammates. And then on to 11th place, we have Debbie with his Sin Shenron. So the another Sin Shenron. Also, I think this is the last Sin Shenron, and similar to David, we've got the text out where he's using the Android 20 super combo instead, and also trying to cover the loss of Haze with some Freezer Imperial Inspiration to give that crit swing on some of the big swings. You can get them at quite cheap, so the energy left over to drop that on the combo to make it crit again. So nice idea to try and check that out. And then side deck and Z deck same as usual, and side deck a little bit different, being one of the sins that bring using Topo as Floodgate, which is quite interesting. Not many red decks have been using Topo as a Floodgate negate because of things like Brody Crown being able to just punish you for having 2 energy left open, and yeah, most people are using trying to put in counter plays that kind of hold off the floodgates when they swing. So quite a good job, Debbie. And also Debbie is one of the people that in the EU that tops regular as well. So that is 11th place, it's gone 12th. And here we have Corey Bentley, another UK player who came in 12th with the SS4, so another SS4. And yeah, a little bit more teched out. I think he's the only one that's running 3 overwhelms, being the not even 3 overwhelms, just not running the SS4 Secret Rare, going with the SSB Vegeta Secret Rare, which is an interesting choice. I remember on the last one, we did that kind of question when we saw an SS4 in the last one of them, the 2, not have the SS4 Vegeta, but have the SSB Vegeta Secret Rare, and wondered why. I need to comment on the video to say that he didn't have access to it. But with Corey, he's got Dark Broly Overwhelm and also the Thing Greeting Overwhelm as well for those 2 options, and also playing the Indomitable Might Gogeta as well for that turn 3 play if you wanted to. Also having Raditz in the main, having that as a way to deal with Crimson, expecting Crimson to be the most popular. And if we go onto the side, Z deck just doesn't have the SSB, so either he doesn't have them, we don't want to bother putting, but keeping this, so one of the 2 I think lists in this top cut that didn't have a full Z deck. And then same with the side deck, didn't have a full 15, just had a 13 from what we could see from the description, well, from the list, and same things that most of them had up, just some dark power about my saying to help deal with cards that come in without counterplay, without counter skills or keyword skills. So that is that one. So that is 12th. Let's have a look at 13th, and that is the other Casterman brothers. So both the Casterman brothers, both topping, making top 16, and this one is Francesco. Shouts to him, lovely player, great guy, and he's playing SS4 Goku one. So I think he did mention before because he played in the Webcam locals on the Friday, and he did mention that he got a bit of inspiration from Michael to play after seeing him top, and went on to try it out because he does enjoy his black decks as well. And here we go. This is list a little bit different than what Michael's was from the last one, and a few different interesting tech choices. Then going on to the side and Z deck. So he's got the Z deck being 2-2-1, 2-2-2-1 with the Pan, Boo, Vegeta and Goku for the mission. And in the Z deck, similar to some of the other black decks in this top cut, in terms of choices for the side. So good job, Francesco and the Castleman brothers. So let's have a look at 14th. And that is the last of the SS4. I can imagine people probably got a little bit sick of seeing some of the red decks, but apologies, that's not anything you can control. If they're strong decks and do well, they're going to do well and they're going to be strong. And this is the last of the SS4 ones, and this one's a lot more tacked out, as you can see. Generic with most of the standard cards that are in every other SS4, like same kind of copy paste, but this one isn't running the Searcher Vegeta, because instead just sticking with the 4 of each of the Cantrip and also the Pseudo Arrival ones. And also have a bit more tacked out in the topo in the main for a Floodgate to survive the turn. Some Friendly Rival freezers to go with the red-blue package he's running of a playset of Soul's Rival Seeker and 2 Explosive Demon Waves. So using the freezer to put this Explosive Demon Wave in the drop. So Rival Seeker is then a like a free 10k combo at any point while it's in the drop. And because Rival Seeker needs a multicolor blue-red multicolor extra card in the drop to be able to use as a free 10k, and Friendly Rival Freezer allows that to thin your deck, put it straight from your deck to drop, and have it make your Rival Seeker a free 10k combo. That's quite interesting, quite decked out, and probably the most interesting one at the ones in here. And then we got the side deck, Z deck standard, and the side deck being the same kind of text, but with Tien Spirit Vanisher. So this is one that is basically barrier removal just like the Kaioken is, but you can play it for free because you can use the activate main to choose 2 red and or blue extra cards from your hand, discard them to play a card from your hand for free, and when you do play it, choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignore and barrier, minus it by 20k. So another way to barrier, have some barrier removal built in, to put stuff in your drop that you need be like get some deck cards out of it, and not use your energy to be able to remove something from play. So you can steal, it's like if you've got Slug and want to drop your 8-drop Gogeta, but Slug's preventing you, you can drop this for free, remove the Slug, then drop your Gogeta without spending energy to still do this play you wanted to do. Quite an interesting idea, and I do like it. Now let's have a look at 15th place. And that is Powell's Bardock's crew. So Powell wants another person in the EU, a great EU player that keeps tops regularly and performing quite well, and with different decks as well, because this time he went with, I think he might have been one of the green players from last time, from the January one, and now going on with Bardock's crew, just showing that Bardock's crew can do well on top. Even because I remember the Lookout has like a little joke going about Bardock's crew, because Bardock is the joke of Bandai, especially in the card game. And as you can see, starting with just the Bardock's crew stuff and the generic yellow text. And then if you have a look at the C deck and side deck, quite decked out the Z deck. It's like we've seen some of them, like 6 different cards. Only duplicate is Oolong, and quite an interesting one. Interesting being the freezer just a warm up, and the Gamma 2 actually being the first time I've seen that used in the C deck. And then we got the side deck being just like teched out stuff like Vegeta for, like we've seen from most other decks put in for deal with certain things. And then just stuff for utility for certain matchups. So congrats to Powell for coming in top cut with Bardock's crew. And then we get to the last one, being Ivan's 16th place Majin Buu deck. So Buu once again doing back-to-back tops, topping both EU webcam events, and with different lists. Like you can see a little bit teched out with this one, quite interesting in the a lot of green decks now just putting the Vegeta as their unison of choice, but still having the Barbie in here because it's searchable off the 4-drop, so hit that out and being an uninteractable unison to keep around. And yeah, standard with most of the green decks and the like generic green text and stuff. Like green is becoming more of one of those colors now, where you got the generic green good stuff in all the decks with a little bit more text out. And then for the side deck and the Z deck being the standard with green. Green doesn't have much options when it comes to green Z cards. They're mainly archetypes focus ones, and there's not many generic ones. We've got the 1 copy of the Z lead, 4 copies of the Freezer because it's the most generic one, and Jiren and SB Vegeta. Then the Z deck being teched out that include more to help certain matchups, or to like tilt the deck into a different way of playing, which is quite cool. And that is it for all the lists, or the breakdown lists. I'm trying to make this not as long as I normally make lists, trying to just, because there's no point going over in depth of the list without the player actually there to explain some of the tech choices, because I wouldn't know exactly the reason putting them. They could have a different reason for what I see. So if any lists come up for any deck profiles any of these players do with any channel, I'll link it down below so you can check out So you have a link there in the description to check out those deck profiles, because it's better to actually see them on the channel as they explain it, and actually go and check out those YouTube channels rather than just me quickly go over it and potentially get them wrong. So thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Once again, help the channel out. It's much greatly appreciated, and I hope you like me trying to get out the Top Cut breakdowns as quick as possible for you. And without further ado, we're going to end this video now, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.